Good day, ladies and gentlemen. G'day, ladies and gentlemen. Wherever you are in the world, welcome to Barkarati, the sailing podcast. Stop laughing, BP.
I'm laughing.
My name is Jordan Spencer. Joining me is my good mate, BP.
Greetings, exalted one.
Yes, good morning, Jordan.
How are you, mate?
Good evening, Barkaratians. Well, the story's going to be all over this show. We're going to have a fun one tonight, I can tell you. I might have to take a little bit of a lead. Our Mr. J-Dog is a bit tired.
He certainly is. Well, let's bring in Bice in, then we can explain what's going on. All right.
He had a voice that could make a wolverine purr.
Nick Bice, where are you, mate?
Dusty as, I must say. Well, not as dusty as I was on Saturday after the Adelaide Sailors catch up, but dusty as I'm in Saudi Arabia. And it's true. It's bloody sandhills everywhere.
Sandhills everywhere.
Unbelievable.
Oh.
Yeah.
You don't know what the greeting in Saudi?
If I need to ship some home, no dramas,
Okay.
just give us a shout.
No worries. Well,
very good. Are you a bit tired, J-Dog? A bit tired?
Mate. Yeah, you've just woken me up. It's 2 a.m. in New Orleans, and you've set me up, you mongrels. That's what it is. I had the timings all worked out, thinking it was going to be a reasonable time in the morning, but no. And I've actually...
Let's step it back to episode 19, shall we? You know, when you set me up.
Well... The problem is I've come to like a meeting room down on floor 2 of this hotel I'm in because...
Where are you?
In New Orleans.
New Orleans.
Yeah. And I've come down to this open room on level 2 because I didn't want to get the noise complaints. But there is so much noise downstairs. Huge football matches on this weekend. People have flown in from everywhere. And, you know, I'm sort of stuck in the middle. So if you hear lots of yelling, that's what's going on.
Yeah.
Copy.
Adding to the spice. I like it.
That's it. 6 months.
2 a.m. in the US, they shut the bars at midnight, don't they?
I don't think anything shuts here, mate. It's
yeah, fair enough. New Orleans.
Yep.
You're right. Yep.
It is one of the places I'd love to visit.
It's very
as
cool.
a musician, I would love to get into one of those blues bars and have a listen to some of that old stuff.
I seriously have not had a bad second here, BP. From the moment I landed, like the taxi driver, he's just said, I'm going off shift. As soon as we were driving along in the car, he said, I'm going off shift, let's go out for a drink. I'm going, oh, okay, let's do that.
Beautiful.
And then it's just gone crazy from there, mate. Like it's just non-stop and everyone's up for a laugh.
What about taxi drivers, Bicey? How did you go with your taxi driver?
Oh, bloody hell. That was an experience and a half. Getting a taxi driver from Dammam Airport to my hotel, which Google Maps said it was half hour away, but a solid hour and a half later, going to every single other hotel in the region because he couldn't read English. My mistake, though. I should have jotted it down in a little Arabic, I guess.
Yeah, well...
But, Jay, if I don't see a Dixie band running across the back of you there, something's wrong. Yeah. That's what I'm expecting.
Well... We've had a parade. We've got 2 football games. There's been a couple of basketball games going on. Some guy, actually, I told you that. I'm a mad basketball fan. I was president of my university's basketball club. And literally my hotel's 300 metres from the basketball stadium. And the first night I got here, after my episode with the taxi driver, I walk over to the stadium. There's a basketball game on. Some bloke had somebody not show up, so he just gave me a ticket. It was centre court, 3 rows back from the court. It was like a $250 ticket, and he just gave it to me. And I've gone, thank you very much. Having a good time. I may not leave.
Oh, there we go. Well, you're going to have to get used to early mornings for Barkarati.
Yeah, no, I'll leave. Speaking of Barkarati, 6 months, boys. This is our 6-month episode. Congratulations.
Oh, yeah. Happy anniversary.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So we had to celebrate with someone special.
We are celebrating with someone special.
Copy.
Yes.
Yep. So let's bring in our guest because he's patiently waiting on the line. Ladies and gentlemen, our special guest today is a good one, Mr. Mark Somerville, Managing Director, Persico Marine, a New Zealander living in Italy. G'day, mate. How you going?
Yeah. G'day, guys.
Some of your best Italian.
I I'm just trying to fit in around here, around you Aussies. That's all.
Well, is it easier in Italian?
No.
Right. So, should we give everyone your resume?
I don't know what to say, actually. Buongiorno, buonasera. It looks like we're all in 4 points of the globe, so it's pretty difficult.
Yeah. Well,
we always liken it to a NASA launch, and this one is really struggling. I think we've got some serious technical problems, but we're going okay so far.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. All right. For those who don't know, Mark runs Persico Marine, which is one of the preeminent boat builders in the world. Been involved in 9 America's Cup campaigns, Oracle Racing for 10 years, Team New Zealand, Luna Rossa, 2 wins of the America's Cup, 6 of Whitbread Volvos, including 4 wins there, and now been involved this year just alone in building Advens and, of course, the new Luna Rossa America's Cup campaign and Tango, the Wally, and also all the foil arms for the America's Cup boats. So you're just starting out in the industry, mate, is that right?
Yeah. Good. Anything else, mate?
Yeah. How has your first year been?
Can you repeat that?
Did I get it right?
Sounds like you've been doing some homework, mate. That's not like you at all.
Oh, come on.
Very good. Yeah, no, I did it single-handedly too, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Copy. So, from what we can take from that, mate, is
good job.
Luna Rossa's going to win the America's Cup because it's got you involved?
Oh, without a doubt, mate. Absolutely.
Okay. Copy.
Why wouldn't it go our way?
Oh, okay. So,
it's a hard one, isn't it? I think it's a hard one. I've got 1 foot in the Kiwi camp because
I was just going to say
deep down, and 1 foot in the Italian camp. So it is a bit of a struggle.
And you've got a couple of arms in every other camp as well. The four arms.
Yeah, it's their arms, not feet. Yeah.
Exactly.
The Keely foily things.
Yeah.
Keeping the fingers in all the pies. So one way or another, I get a win, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Just add it to the list.
I was just going to say, add another win to the list. You can't lose.
Well, it's been a wonderful year for you then.
Right.
Yeah, it's been a pretty big. It's been pretty big for the last 10 years actually since I've been in Italy, but it just slowly ramps up. In the last 18 months, it's been pretty full on, but it's exciting. Been involved in some pretty nice projects, a lot of nice people. It's great.
So can I ask a genuine question about that? So you've got genuine, you've built Luna Rossa, right? So there's got to be a certain sense that, and you work in Italy, there's got to be a sense of backing that team in, but you are a Kiwi. How does that break down if there's a Kiwi Italy final? Because we know the Kiwis are in the final. We've worked that one out. We're that smart. We've worked that out. But how do you go emotionally with that one?
Oh, mate, that's a difficult one, isn't it?
Mm.
I think I'd be rooting for the Italians all the way through the Prada Cup because obviously the Kiwis aren't there. And I think if that's successful, then we head into the America's Cup, and then it could be Prada and the Kiwis. And I think, to be fair, I'd be pretty happy with any result,
Yeah, copy.
That's kind of the way I would want to look at it. I've worked with the Kiwi boys before and had a win, and it'd be nice to work with Prada and have a win.
We should play a sculling game with you when the America's Cup is on, where any time somebody with a bit of Persico equipment on is in front, you have to scull.
At the top mark.
Yeah, but it wouldn't go very well for me, would it?
Exactly. Put your hand up if Mark should scull. Oh, there goes another arm.
I'd like to come out the end of it with actually remembering what happened in this America's Cup.
We're not worried about what you want, mate. We're worried about having a laugh. So how did you get there, mate? What's the story? What's the sum of it? How did you get to this stage? Did you start off as a little, sweeping floors in some boat building setup, or what? What's the story?
I did actually. Yeah, I did. I left school at a pretty early age. Well, I was told by my parents that either I got an apprenticeship or I had to stay at school. So I worked pretty hard at trying to get an apprenticeship.
Sounds like a common theme.
Yep.
Because I didn't really like school, to be fair.
Yep.
And I kind of got lucky and got an apprenticeship with a yard called Southern Pacific, which then later became Southern Spars. And at the time, these guys were building race boats, so they were building Stonelager 1 and Stonelager 2, and that sort of pedigree, which is sort of early stage, high-end or pre-preg manufacturing of these race boats, quite a nice pedigree, and sort of hooked into that. That's sort of how it started. And then as it goes, way back then, the Kiwis are doing a pretty good job, I think, globally, with their technology and building race boats and so forth. And we got chosen we got picked by other countries and other teams, so we sort of jumped from one to the other. And I think at the age of 19, I was building a Spanish boat in Spain. And just sort of moved around, one to the other, ship to ship, team to team, as you do. So it ended up being, I think, about 15 years overseas, building for one team or the other, and ended up in Persico. Yeah, that's kind of how it started.
That's almost the common theme of, call it, especially the Kiwis, but kind of head off overseas, pick up a gig, and then just keep moving from gig to gig. And I guess it's been pretty good over the last years to actually be able to go from gig to gig, and it's only getting better, right? Well, more interesting, I would imagine, especially with the stuff you're rolling out now.
Yeah, I think it's you're right, and I think there's probably more opportunity now than what there probably ever was before. So it was quite hard to get a gig overseas when I was young. And you didn't really realise what you had when you had it, But these days you got opportunity in super yachts, race teams, TP52s, 72s. They're all IMOCAs. There's all of those options available, which were kind of there before, but not so obvious.
Yeah, which sounds like it's the right place at the right time when you're obviously doing everything you're doing. But you said you went over at a very young age. What was how did you actually end up being managing director of Persico? I mean, that's a big difference from just being a boat builder in teams. I mean, you obviously have to be pretty switched on business mind wise to make that happen.
Or maybe I just in the right place, right time. I don't know.
There you go.
No, I think in the early days, I was sort of 19 and went overseas, and then that sort of produced more opportunities. So when I came back here, I spent another 5 years back in New Zealand, and I continued to work hard in a boat yard, and we were doing lots of Volvo boats then with at the Cookson yard actually for a couple of years there, and then I went back to Southern Spars. And I think if, like anyone, if you work really, really hard and you continue to educate yourself, you can move on to more things, and it's just one step after the other, to slowly grow up the ranks. And I was always a bit of an achiever, sort of quite quiet, I think, in the background. And while I was working, I was also studying on the side, and to further your education. And then, as you gain more experience and you gain a bit of age and you get a bit more worldly, and you've been overseas and involved in teams and stuff, more than once, becomes twice, then it comes a few times. You kind of become the older guy,
almost the go-to guy, right?
Yeah. So you get pretty good at all of it at the end of the day. And then, my last, I guess, big stint was like 9 years with Oracle, and and through that period, you become more of a senior player, and you end up sort of pulling the team together that's actually going to build the boat. So you're not just involved in the technology from the early days of each campaign. You're you're doing test campaigns of working out which materials and chemicals and how you're actually going to put the boat together to then actually build the team. So you get involved in the hiring and the firing of all the people. You go to the venue of where you're going to build the boat quite early. You ascertain the best facility and where you want to position the team and where you want to build the boat, what's best for the boat and what's best for the team. So you rent the space, you pull in the suppliers and the contractors around you. Early days of Oracle, we didn't have milling machines and that, so we positioned ourselves in the up in northern Seattle next to Janaki Industries. That was kind of our biggest supplier, which had these big CNC milling machines. Formed a good relationship with them, so it was sort of an open door thing. We could walk into their shed and they could do the same to us, and just tried to progress the technology of even what they did, and that worked pretty well. Down to dealing with real estate agents, to renting all of the housing and things like that. So you sort of get it. You don't just get good at building the boat. You get good at doing everything else. Working out budgets for the boats and.
Yeah, right. Probably leads to the next question. I mean, are you very hands-on now? I mean, obviously there's a lot of work outside of building the boat that's required. So you'd obviously be fairly, office-bound, if you like. Yeah,
I think you'd say that. Gone are the days of pushing a longboard down the side of the hull, that's for sure.
Well, it's probably a good thing.
God bless, yeah.
Yes.
So I'm pretty happy to do away with that. But over those years, it just becomes less and less, I think. You're right, and then it becomes more about the business side of what we're doing and forming a relationship with clients and everything else. But in saying that, we try to run the business pretty lean, and I think to build the boats and to run a good company, you don't want to be too top heavy, and you don't need to be too heavy as a whole, and that's pretty difficult in the marine industry that actually follows projects, projects by project rather than just building production parts. So you sort of have your peaks and troughs and things like that. So you don't want to employ too many people. So trying to answer your question, I'm not involved in the day-to-day sanding of the boat, if you want to call it, or laminating or those types of things. But I spent many years early on in Persico actually putting a lot of processes in place in every step, whether it's inside the technical office or in production, trying to put good processes in place that everybody can follow, and then therefore as the company gets bigger and bigger and you got a lot more people, as long as everyone's sort of doing what they should be doing and following the fundamental steps, everyone's still should be allowed to be creative and have a lot of input, and that's what you want as well. But as long as we follow the fundamentals, then I can go to bed and sleep at night every night, and not having to actually make sure that I'm personally there for those little steps along the way. And that's quite a lot of work. Early days, but even today, I like to sit in the office with, the rest of the office staff, and we've got, a really cool team now, quite multi-national, quite spread as far as age groups. So we've got, seniors and a lot of young people coming through that are bringing a lot of brains to it. And, I like to sit in amongst all of these people and feed off them. They feed off me and so forth. So you actually get to really know what's going on in the company every day. And therefore you become like role models to a lot of the younger ones as well. And
sure.
So you are actually really involved in a lot of the projects and a lot of the key areas that are happening from day to day. I try to support those as much as I can, which is, I think it's really key to any company.
Mark, speaking of managing people, what's your best Chris Dixon story? And don't be afraid. No, not too many people listen to this, so I doubt it's going to make it back to him. So feel free to cut loose.
Next question.
Okay.
Good answer.
All right. I'll come in.
Come on, J-Dog. I thought you were asleep, J-Dog.
No. Well, I've got the.
Mate, listen, I get up in the morning here early sometimes, and I actually run along Takapuna Beach, and I still bump into my old mate Chris Dixon. So I can't be rattling off too many stories, you know.
Fair enough.
Careful.
What a lovely part of the world, Takapuna Beach. Lovely, lovely.
Everyone's going to discover that soon. All right. So you talk about, being able to sleep at night. It's interesting to me with all the projects you've got going on. Do you ever actually, because all the boats that you're building are living in the extreme, do you ever actually have trouble sleeping at night because of all the stuff that you've got out there?
Good question. I think I've kind of got used to it over the years, actually, mate.
Yeah. Copy.
At the end of the day, just for many, many, many years, building the same type of boat, same type of product that, is kind of pushed to the extreme. You sort of get used to it. And then, in the last 10 years, there's a lot more development and work that's been put into testing all the parts before, like non-destructive testing and so forth.
Yeah.
And that type of quality control methods, steps that get put in place that you got a certain level of confidence before it even hits the water.
Gives you a bit of peace of mind.
Yeah, you didn't have that. You had it years ago, but it's sort of different level. Different sort of a different feeling. That's for sure. Years ago we probably weren't building them or designing and engineering them to the extremes as what they are today, and that kind of gave you a bit of confidence. But this day and age it's quite extreme. Things are bloody light and everything's pushed to the absolute nth degree, and does on the other side of that, with the design becoming a lot more scientific and known, it puts a large emphasis on how you actually manufacture something. And with composites the way they are, there's always a certain level of we call them defects or things that aren't absolutely perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect composite part these days, so it's something to manage, that's for sure.
Well, just when we ran through that resume of what you've been involved in, just if I look at just this year, so you've done the IMOCA 60 Advens, you've done Wally, the Wally Tango, you've done the foil arms for all the America's Cup teams, you've done Luna Rossa, the boat, and you've done all these other amazing things. Is there any project that over the years stands out? Like, is there a favourite out of all that, or is they all have something that blow your mind, sort of thing?
Super 60. Super 60.
Super 60. Super 60. Jeez, that might be a bit of a bad memory, boss, because we didn't get to build his boat.
Well, we didn't quite end up the way we wanted, but it's good fun.
I think as you get older, the old memories, there's some good ones. Obviously when you win the cup, you never sort of forget those ones, which is kind of right. Steinlager 2 was probably one that stands out in my mind. I was pretty young, pretty green, but worked extremely hard on that project. And, it was a favourite boat and it won every leg, and it still sails around the harbour in Auckland today. And that one, I took my son on it a couple of years ago, and we did the Auckland to Fiji race. So that's kind of one that has always stood out in my mind, predominantly. And then the cup wins after that with Team New Zealand, with Oracle, they stand out. I think there's a part in every project that stands out quite a lot. And I think as you get older, the dynamics of those also change as well. And like Vicey said, we've got this Volvo Super 60, we called it, and that it is a project that stood out. And we felt really, I felt really, I guess, proud and happy that we actually managed to produce, one of those. It was quite a long study, invested a lot of time and energy in, all working together to design and to, come up with a concept that was going to work to build, a bunch of boats. That kindly, we kind of got the carpet or the pulled from underneath our feet. But then we built the Advens boat for Tomas Ruyant, which was really nice to actually have that closure of all of that energy and work that everyone's put into it. And during that process, like most of them, you kind of, as you get older, you sort of appreciate all the friendships and the people and all the people around you that are actually putting in as much energy as you do yourself, And I think that's really important. And it becomes a more important part of, I guess, me and my puzzle as you get older. It's not just about the boat. It's about all of the people and that you meet along the way, and that you can drag up and drag along, and the people that support ourselves in it is a really important part. And that Volvo 60 and Super 60 was kind of one of those projects. So, putting Tomas Ruyant's boat in the water and then having him, 8 weeks later after, not much work, pull off a result that he just did was pretty nice. It's really nice for all of us. Don't
necessarily put that tooling away yet, mate. We're still working on stuff.
Yeah, I'm not. She's there. Don't worry about that. Yeah.
We're paddling away behind the scenes, mate. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
I have heard a little chat today in the CYC. The Ginga Challenge would be actually pretty interested. So I may have some funds, Jay.
Good work, BP. I can always rely on you. Good work.
Raised $12 today.
I know. We've done okay. I'm at $25. Come on. Give me a break.
Ginga Challenge. It's gonna fly. Oh dear. All right, so we've built boats. What's the story with the forearms? Like, there was a lot of complexity in that in the end. So what's the story behind all that?
Long story short, or short story long? Yeah, hell of a project to follow. So we kind of got the first gist. I'm sure it was quite publicised that we, the first arms were designed and engineered, and we built one of those, and we tested it to failure, as everyone probably saw.
Yep.
And
awesome.
I think try to summarise that, I guess, from my view anyway. It's probably different for everybody, but from my point of view, I think everyone actually did a really nice job. I think the Luna Rossa team themselves, they fronted and they took on the engineering and design of that first arm, and I was really impressed actually with what they did. They stepped up a lot earlier than anybody else. They were, the team was functioning really early. They put together a pretty nice package, which we built. And then during, this kind of came apparent that a lot of the other teams actually weren't as developed as Luna Rossa, and a lot of the designers, engineers, and people on board were kind of just getting together at that stage. They weren't really a team yet, and we'd already achieved all of this together with Luna Rossa. It was quite a lot of work to do by that stage. And then it kind of unraveled because we didn't quite hit some of the numbers that everyone was expecting. And I remember back then there was only one team that had a mule that even had numbers. So, everyone was kind of looking at them like, are these numbers all right? Are they not? How does it compare? And then because there was that skepticism about, are we there? Are we not there? It was kind of unknown, really, unknown territory. I guess the good thing that came out of it is that everybody actually started working together. So you had a lot of the engineers and designers from all the teams really, sitting down together and putting all of their numbers and ideas on the table, which was pretty nice to be involved in and nice to see happen as well, because it doesn't happen very often, especially in this, environment with the America's Cup. It's normally a dog eat dog. So it was quite nice to see that. And And then the second arm was engineered by Pure Engineering in New Zealand. So there was a bit of sort of downtime to do a bit of a handover at that stage. And then we kind of got the green light to go ahead and build the second arm, which was very different technology and processes to the first one. And we kind of got dragged into some of the build methods and processes that we tried to actually not do on the first one, just for the mere fact that it was going to take a lot of time, which we didn't feel we had. It's pretty funny how you can actually also make mistakes, or you can, what do they say? You've never got enough time to build the first one, but you've always got enough time to fix it, right? Now, it wasn't really a case of fixing it, but we did the second one, and it actually went really well, and all the way through to the end. And even when we tested it to failure, it was a good result. And I just look back now, and it was a massive effort from Persico. I think we kind of became Houdini there and magicians and pulled it off. It was a pretty hard task to build that many foils that weighed like 400 kilos in that sort of time frame to the quality that was expected. It was, I don't know really many people that could have done it, to be fair. But a pat on the back to, I guess, all my team, really. They did a fantastic job. But, looking back now in retrospect, we're now testing the second phase of these arms to slightly lower loads than the first ones. And maybe that first edition might have been enough, might have been all right.
Yeah, copy.
Maybe it was just that no one really knew exactly where to put the limits,
Yeah, sure.
So it's quite an interesting process, really.
And what obviously testing to failure is quite a big day in the factory. Just want to step us through that process a little, and what did they actually,
isn't it just
compared to the science, compared to actually what they broke at? Was it all kind of aligned?
Doesn't just everyone yell duck?
Yeah. It actually took a week to do it. So, and part of that, you're testing that arm and compression and tension, and then there's also grounding loads. So there's some, you're twisting the board and you're kind of pulling it in all different directions. And then doing that, and then you're cycling it as well. So some of the loads we actually had to cycle up to 30 times. And then we're changing the jig around. So we have this, what we call a jig, but it's a big, steel mechanical apparatus that we assemble the arm in. And then it's got 3 or 4 configurations we've got to set this apparatus into to manipulate the arm and to pull it. And even that can take 2 to 3 hours to go from one configuration to the other. So you've got these big areas during the day of downtime, so we tried to schedule it. So we're doing the testing, and then we're changing the apparatus and the jig in the evenings and that type of thing. Doesn't always work out exactly how you want it to go, but so that sort of went from, it's kind of it was a 5-day process. And as you went through step by step, we never wanted to pull the arm to a degree that maybe we degraded it that would stop us from testing some of the others, some of the other loads in other areas. So it was a very, very gradual test program. And it went pretty well, to be fair. And it was really right at the end, there was some of the grounding loads and loads that you would otherwise see when you went through a big bear away. These were the loads that were just a few percent actually under its sort of design loads. They didn't quite see it, but everything else did. So, through the whole week, everything was actually good until really the sort of catastrophic failure loads that we were trying to achieve were not quite achieved. But it was, we're only talking a few percent. It was pretty close.
For our listeners out there, I mean, obviously this is probably there's a a few people that understand this sort of stuff. But what in the end actually was the point of failure? Because we all saw the video and we all sort of went, wow. But, what was the actual main point of failure?
As in the load case itself, or the level of load case, or
just numbers you were seeing in terms of where the break was, how the break happened, and what you're actually trying to test at the time.
Yeah, so it failed through that what we call the elbow area. So where there's the big, like the smallest radius, which is kind of 2/3 down, just before it actually attaches to its wing. That's where it actually finally let go, which is normally where you would see the highest strains in any foil. Whether you look at the old AC72 foils, whether it's the IMOCA foils, if you've got an elbow in there, a tight radius, they normally are seeing the biggest strains. So that's where it let go. The last, the foil that everyone's got underneath their boat today. These ones are essentially made up of, it's solid. It's a solid arm, and it's made up of 13 plates that are bonded together. And inside those plates that bond together, strategically placed, there's some lightning holes. It actually gives us about 25 kilos of saving in weight. And then so when the arm let go, it's kind of sort of joined the dots between the lightning holes, which is what you'd kind of expect to see. And through the lower part of the elbow is where she let go.
And those loads, are those loads sort of, obviously accentuated, I guess, to what you would expect to see normally? You're saying it's possibly in a grounding, or you're happy with where you are with them as they are now?
Yeah, as a builder, I guess I'm just happy to see it going over the design load, which we did. We went beyond its design load capabilities, which is all that we really want to see. And at the end of it, when you pull it all apart, you don't really see any, no errors in build methods, build characteristics, or anything like that. So it kind of achieved and did what it's supposed to do. And then from there, it was kind of the bigger challenge was actually you got to replicate it and do the same over and over and over again, which is a task in itself. Actually producing a part with that complexity, as you would expect to see on a one design component, it's quite tough. But pretty serious piece of kit actually. 400 kilo board like that, and so being around watching it break is something else.
Another question
of it, we moved everybody out of the room where it was actually broken. I was going
to ask that question. the actual break. Was there a sound recording made of it? It must have made the biggest noise.
Yeah, so we have a special room with the test jig apparatus in it, which is actually available for anyone to use. So that's got a bullet they want to test or a rudder or anything, it's there for anyone to use. But yeah, we had it set up originally during the whole week, big screens, and we had all the loads and everything displayed for the designers and stuff to see. But during that final phase of breaking it, we moved everybody outside around the corner. So we were probably, 20, 30 metres away from the actual foil itself.
Was everyone still holding their balls at that point in time, just in case?
Pretty much. Yeah, we moved all the screens outside, and we had about 50 people standing around the back of the screens. A lot of people from Persico, obviously. Representatives from all the teams were there, and we're all sort of watching the screen with, being anxious, and people with, balls in hands.
I've just got a picture of everyone's face, with that, when they're
cracking.
when people are expecting something to happen, but it's not quite happening, and everyone's standing there, sort of closing their eyes a little bit, and sort of going, "Oh, it's going to happen soon. It's going to happen soon." And then just when I guess it just goes on and on and on, and then bang! It just must have been an intense moment.
Yeah, I think you could start to hear some cracking noises, which even from that distance is something, So everyone was definitely getting that squinting look on their face, and it's probably some serious ass puckering. I know mine was, and then when she actually went, it was pretty much like a cannon that goes off. It feels like it's about to, and you could actually feel the vibration and everything through the floor. And then a whole shitload of cheering went on from the
wow,
from the crowd that was watching. Yeah, it was pretty spectacular. Something that it doesn't happen every day, that's for sure.
Wow.
Yeah, I must say I was lucky enough to go into Future Fibres when Future Fibres was in Valencia, and we broke a jumper that they made for us because it was slightly short, and that's another story. But we went in there and we put a book on when it would break. Someone said 10 tons, and someone said 15 tons, and I said 27 tons, and it went at 28 tons, and we broke it in the little test bed there. And my God, the noise was insane, and the recoil of those fibres was the noise and the recoil was something I'll never forget. So I'm assuming it's just a little bit similar, but I guess a bit bigger for what you were doing.
Yeah, it was amazing actually. I was the first person in the room to go back in, and the noise, the percussion from the noise was one thing, and then to walk back in the room, it sort of had an eerie feeling to it. I was picking up pieces there was metal fittings that had come off the bottom that were in amongst the chairs where we would have had people. The whole head of the arm was about 3 meters away. When it came off, it had sort of bounced off the bottom of the test jig and, bent some big pieces of steel that were about 10 mil thick, some webs that were sticking off, fastening other parts of the setup, and these things were bent over at about a 45-degree angle. It had done some carnage, that's for sure. Things that you just don't know what's going to happen. Yeah, it's pretty good that we weren't in there.
Amazing story. It's like obviously we all saw it on the TV on the video, but to actually see it happen and to not know when it was going to happen, I mean that's part of it. And amazing effort, awesome, well done.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that's of interest is like you were talking about the work you've done with Pure Composites. Obviously, we're big fans of those guys. So you're always at the cutting edge of things. And one thing that is evident in this world these days is the move to more sustainable practices. Now, I know Persico Marine, you generate all your own power through the river that runs through you. And throughout all the work we did on the Volvo, you were always up for looking for some solutions. How do you see successful boats being built in the future? Like if people want to go down this sustainable path, do you see the pathway now, or do you think it's still to be developed?
Nice, mate. I think we've been working on this, I think, consistently for probably 5-6 years now. We kind of do it in the background and not sort of beat our chests about it, but it is something that is important, I think, to all of us. We've got to be careful. Yeah, we want to build the best boats in the world, and we want to build the fastest, lightest, and that type of thing. So we don't necessarily want the sustainability side of it to have an impact on that, and I don't think it's probably necessary either. We just have to be smart about what we do. Is there a path forward? Yeah, I think so. You can never change things overnight, as we all know. I think, to change anything, you get told you got to do something like 600 times before it actually works. It could be a generation change, whatever. But, I think you just got to you have to make small steps along the way and change the way that you do things. Obviously, in a business, having a business hat on, some of those things actually have a financial impact as well. And, you can only do so much each time. But the idea is just to keep chipping away. Some of those have an impact on yourself as a company, and some of them also have an impact on your client and how much can your client bear too.
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying. It almost needs to be independently backed, doesn't it, to help you out?
Yeah, I think if you want to make changes fast, then obviously having some independent support is always nice, and that does. I think over the last couple of years, we've had some clients which have been backed and happy to support some of the things that we've been doing in those areas with a cash injection, and it does actually help you move forward a little bit quicker than what you probably would. So that is nice to have, and there is guys out there like 11th Hour and those people they are having an impact, I think. And I think the biggest impact they have is, just educating people and just having one organisation physically doing something's great, but at the end of the day, you've got to educate the numbers and the mass for everyone to make the small changes. That's probably the way forward, So, yeah, we're dealing with recycling. We're dealing with, minimising plastics. We're dealing with, producing our own energy, which goes back into the company. We're recycling all of the carbon and the tooling and things like that, which we're producing now. We're recycling that and putting it back into more tooling or other parts. We're making gains, and we're doing things that we weren't, 5 years ago or 10 years ago. That's for sure. Is there a clear path forward? I'm not sure. I think as long as we all play a part, and we also learn off each other of what we're doing. There's other yards out there that are doing similar things to us, but also different things, and we do actually share what we're doing individually. So at least we can learn from each other as well and adapt to those, which just helps us move forward too. I think we need to share and communicate on that front. It's a good thing.
Yeah, that's. I will comment on that. That actually is exactly what's gone on. I did that thing that happened in Genoa. There was so much information being shared. I suspect that the leaders will be in the smaller boats. Like when you build a small boat, you've got a little bit more room where you can do that and have more of an experimentation. So that'll be good. So, are there any secret projects that you're working on that you want to tell us about?
Oh, God. You're a legend, Jay. You're a legend. Hey. I was only listening to the episode with Sci-Fi the other day, and I keep cracking up every time you just sort of go in to find out what boat he's going to be racing in the next event.
Somerville hasn't said a word on it.
No.
Okay, copy.
Tell you. It wouldn't be a secret then, would it, mate?
No, that's right. But that's where you come to Bacarati, just to tell people how cool
no one listens to us. No one listens to us. No one.
I guess we're only at the bar, so I could probably tell you a few things, couldn't I?
That's it. Hey, are you actually doing any sailing, mate?
I'd have to say no at the moment. I do a lot of support.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. No, it would be nice. It would be nice, actually. But no, I haven't for a while now. Concentrating on the business too much. And, my son's in the 49er, and that takes a bit of energy just to, I guess, help fund it and support it too. But so I kind of, what do you call it, living vicariously through him.
That's it. We'll touch on that in a minute. We'll go down and talk about the 49ers because that's just finished up as we're recording this. I just want to say, guys, I've had to turn my mic down 3 times now since we've been recording because of the police sirens going past. It's a busy night in New Orleans is all I'm going to say. Any other direct questions?
As long as you're not worried, Jay.
No, I'm not worried. I'm fine.
With your taxi, mate.
Yeah, no, I'm good. He was from Haiti.
Oh, was he?
Yeah. Any other direct questions, or should we roll on to a few discussion points?
Yeah, let's roll on. Otherwise, we could just talk about ourselves forever.
There we go. Okay.
Oh, I want to know why the cable was too short.
Okay. EP, why was the cable too short?
Who ordered the cable?
It was not my fault. I do not know what happened. It's a French. There was a French involved. I can put it that way. No, look, it was just one of those things. It just happened, in the heat of the moment, and how things are done, and that's just how it was. It was only a couple of millimeters. Just
all right. Let's move on. So
it was a tape measure. The tradesman is blaming his tools.
Well, no, it definitely had nothing to do with me. I can tell you that much. It arrived, and I went to put it on, and it didn't fit. Anyway, move on.
Right. Okay.
It was fun. It was fun breaking. Put it that way.
I think there's more to this story, Jay. We'll get this one out.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks for the little tip on that one, Mark. We'll make sure this happens.
I am more than happy to. I am more than
like
happy.
An Aussie trying to get out of this one.
More than happy to tell you. More than happy to tell you all about it. Believe me, I'm more than happy. But go on you go.
Oh dear. I do love the Aussie. The little Kiwi just throwing in a typical Aussie sort of things going on there at the moment. That's pretty good. I like that, Mark. Keep up the banter.
Fair enough.
BP,
one word: rugby.
I'm like, yeah. All right. BP, you actually have been sailing. So you did the classic Sydney Hobart Yacht Regatta that was on this weekend in Sydney on Defiance, I think, an 8 metre. Is that right?
What a rush! What a rush! I love getting out on all types of boats, but I can say that back in the day they didn't really design those things with humans in mind.
Yep.
Basically, you rest your knees and as a trimmer on the boat, or you rest your knees on the seat, and you top wind that winch through the tack, the big overlapping headsails, and I can tell you right now, I'm struggling.
Yep, correct. Were there any other cool boats out there? What were the coolest boats out there?
Oh, look, Kealoha was out there. Obviously,
Kealoha 2 or Kealoha?
The boat that I wanted to buy, Love and War, was out there, who actually took home the victory. It was over a full weekend, so it was 2 days of racing. We were on Defiance, which is an absolutely beautifully, fully restored original 8 metre boat. So nothing on it is new. It's all completely original.
So that could compete in the Globe Ocean race with the Don's race.
Yes, as long as I get to wear my sou'wester.
Actually, speaking of that, so does Lager 2 is eligible now for Don's race as well, isn't it? So Somerville could go around the world.
Yes.
Mark, you want to go around the world? We've lost him.
That's a negative.
He's in. He's in.
No. He's having a beer.
No, he's in. There you go. So just be warned.
Yes, but just to continue on with that discussion, look, there was 35 classic yachts on the harbour this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, and all of the boats had to have competed in the Sydney Hobart over the past 75 years, and it was quite amazing. So James Hardy was out on his boat, Nerida. Wonderful sight with the gaff rig and the topsails still sailing around. I wish it could happen more often, to be honest. I mean, sailing classics is obviously it's these people that own them have a passion for them. They're not easy to sail, but you get off the water and you've been sailing. But to have 35 of them on the water on the start line it's really cool. Cool. They were all there, all the famous Australian boats. I mean, some of these boats did the first Hobart and did 10, 15 Hobarts. So it's really cool.
Very cool. Cool. Good work for just going sailing. None of us can claim that at the moment. So at the other end of the extreme, Spindrift 2 just tried to have its dig at the Jules Verne Trophy and abandoned within a couple of days. Rudder control issues, so they're out. Apparently they lost their windward rudder. It was unable to operate correctly once the boat speed went above 35 to 40 knots. Not a problem.
Right, yeah.
What's wrong with that?
Exactly.
They need to get into Persico to do some testing.
Exactly. Do you have any inside tips on that one, Mark, at all? Do you follow that sort of stuff or not? You'd certainly adhere.
Yeah, I try to follow it. I don't have any inside tips on that one, to be honest with you. we built quite a few parts for Sorry Boy. So we follow them pretty closely.
Yep.
A few other parts for some of the others, but no, I'm not sure what happened with those guys. Sorry.
That's all right. So what about Sorbo? Like, I've always said Sadibo, so hopefully it sounds like I've been saving it wrong. What do you reckon? Is she hitting her potential yet, or she's got to be? Is there a bit more got to happen with that? Because when we look at the Brest Atlantique, which she came in second, I think, from memory. So, what's the thoughts on that boat?
Yeah, I think they've still got a bit to go, mate. From what I understand and what I know that we're going to do for them in the next period, that there's a bit of work to do, and they're gonna be looking for a bit more pace and speed. So
yeah. So what's actually on the cards? So Dabo, actually, they're the ones who abandoned in Cape Town. But what is next on the cards for the big fellas? I mean, it's just around the world, right? Single around the world.
Just around the world. Yeah, around the world's the next one. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, there's such big boats, and everything that you do takes a long time to design it, long time to build it, long time to put it on, time to test. It's,
yeah, exactly.
Quite different to like a 60 or something like that. Eh? It's amazing. Yeah. We built the foils for that, and and I think it was probably about 12 months actually in the end by the time you design it to the time you put it on the boat.
Yeah.
Oh, just even getting them in the boat must be like a week-long exercise.
Yeah,
yeah, they're enormous, eh? Just absolutely enormous.
Would you go around on one of those
Everything's
things?
big gear. Me?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm going to take that as a no.
I wouldn't mind doing a crossing or something, but I don't know if I'd go all the way around, mate.
Yeah. Actually, sorry, but she pulled out in Cape Town, didn't she? So Edmund de Rothschild.
Yeah, she hit something and took the starboard rudder off, which pulled about 5 meters of the float off as well, which we're in the middle of sorting out for them as well.
Yeah, copy. Yeah, so Edmund de Rothschild first, and then a few days later Massif, and then actual leader. So in that race, speaking of taking bits of your boat out, did you get a chance to have a look at Alex's boat in the IMOCA world?
Oh, I saw the photo. I've seen a photo. Of the bottom of the boat through someone else.
Yep.
At the pub.
Yep.
So yeah, she's quite a good size hole, eh? Yeah, poor buggers. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you reckon?
Pretty lucky to get through that one, I think.
That damn sunfish.
Yeah. All right. Let's roll on to much more interesting things. Let's not put you on the spot a bit there. So your boy's into the 49ers these days, and we've just had the Worlds. I'm assuming he was competing. I don't know. I'm just asking.
Yeah, Marcus Somerville. Yeah.
The great Marcus Somerville.
Yep. Kind of name. And after me. Anyway, yeah, he was competing. Still a young lad, but yeah, just missed out on gold fleet in the end. So yeah, he's sailing with Jack Simpson. They're both like 20, 23, 24. So still a few years to go, but showing quite a lot of potential. Got some good places, good numbers, got a bullet.
Excellent.
So I think they're pretty happy overall.
Yeah, good. But
it was pretty rough here. It was pretty rough here in Auckland, actually. Like even the boys, they spent most of the winter training here. Sort of between 4 and 5 days a week out here, which, as most people know, you get a predominant sou'wester. And then we just got this sort of November, December pattern where every few weeks you rolls through a week or so of a northerly. So we ended up having a northerly the whole time. So having a northerly rolling through Waitemata Harbour's not so nice, you know. It's pretty horrible, short chop, quite big waves, quite big sea state for the wind, you know, that you actually get. So it's not so nice. So you actually got a lot of guys that were predicting to be in Gold Fleet actually in silver and vice versa. That's quite mixed actually.
Because the 49ers loved short, choppy seas, don't they?
Oh yeah, absolutely love
They're
it.
they're one hell of a boat to sail. Jay, you sailed a 49er?
A couple of times.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Bicey, you been in one?
Yeah, and I walked straight off the back of the boat, first tack.
Even the best do that, Bicey.
Tacking, well, boom, straight, I've gone.
Even the best
It's funny you say that because in the medal race today, Pete Burling did the same.
Exactly.
Well, that was
In
the
the middle
discussion
race.
earlier.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's actually talk about that because there was a bit of tension in that medal race because I think the boys had to, so Pete and Blair had to, they were leading going into the medal race. They had to finish within 3 places of Highland Plossell.
Yeah, correct.
And at the early on in the race, they were back pretty much last after Pete decides to go for a bit of a swim. He was trying out for 2 Olympic positions, the sailing team and the swimming team.
Yeah,
And
not
the
a great
and the
start.
and the diving team.
Yeah. Not a great start. Fell off the back of the boat. They went around the top mark and second to last. Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit deep.
I'm going to say, if you've fallen off a boat and you don't lose your hat, you don't lose your sunnies, you don't break the tiller extension, you pretty much have had the best possible fall you can have. He absolutely...
Well, he managed to... You probably, I don't know if you saw it, he managed to get his left hand on the aft foot strap
Yep.
as he went over. So that was the only thing he was hanging on to.
Yep.
And as he did that, Blair just turned around and looked,
Balance the boat.
walked the middle of the boat while he hoisted himself up in so he could balance the boat. And away they went. I reckon they lost probably a boat length.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty
Very professional.
tidy, yeah.
Yep. Very professional. And then they ended up finishing 4th overall, and the Germans finished 3rd. So in the end, they had the overall win. So their 5th World Championship, Pete and Blair. Just from a Kiwi perspective, and obviously a 49er dad, mate, I don't know if there's such... Are you like opti mums? Are you guys considered hot? You know, I don't know if... women go down to the boat park to meet the 49er dads or not, but
Where are you going?
I was just trying to make a bit of humour. It's very
Where are you going with this, mate? What's going on?
I reckon there's pizza chasers coming down and look at the dads.
That's it.
You know where it goes because maybe Mr. Jordan wanders down to the Opti Park every now and then.
Never once, mate. Totally faithful. Love my wife. I was just going to say, you got any odds? Obviously, it's going to be Pete and Blair into the Olympics this time around. How do you reckon? Who's going to win the Olympic gold?
Come on, mate. You know, Kiwi. And if you look at what they've just pulled off over the last few weeks,
That's crazy,
I
isn't it?
think you'd have to put your money in the same place, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
We did say last week to Anne Marie Rindon when she was on the show to whack $100 on Bicey's odds at 4-1. So
They've shortened up quite a bit.
well, I hopefully she put the 100 down because right now it's looking good.
We're now down to $1.17.
Well, hopefully Anne Marie put the 100 on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I'd put my money. We'll see. We'll see what happens next too. We've got the Aussie World's coming. You know, the next World's 2020 World's coming soon.
So
At $1.17, you'd put some money on $1.17.
I think he's
put a lot of money on it.
Yep.
Still pay.
It's quite crazy how, so literally we do this Worlds right now and then in a few months we do another Worlds over in Oz. Is your boy going to come across for that or not?
Yeah. I think most people from here, we're packing the container tomorrow.
Yeah,
actually.
Yeah,
Very cool.
Yeah.
You got and then you've got Logan and Oscar from New Zealand as well, who are doing quite well. It's a bit, but then no one's going to get a look either side of Pete and Blair, really. I mean, those guys have got one hell of a sailing program going on. They're going to win the America's Cup or come second in the America's Cup. They're going to do one or the two, then the Olympics, and then go back around the world again. Are you building their new boat for the around the world?
Not really. But I'd love to.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens there. I'm not sure what they're doing. Do you know what's going on there?
We have an idea, but we're not certain. We're pretty certain we know.
Yeah, I got an idea too, but I don't know if it's the same idea as yours.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll compare notes offline on that one, I think, just so we don't get anybody too much trouble.
What about sci-fi? Jay's been pushing sci-fi pretty hard. Is there any information?
Mark's got a lot of information, hasn't he?
No, I don't know what's happening with sci-fi.
Move on, lads.
Let's
move on.
Otherwise, we'll get people in trouble. Let's not do that.
Get people twisted.
That's it. We want them to still like us and tell us secrets, but we'll let them announce it themselves. All right. All right. So just congratulations. I'll finish off on that 49, I think. So Eric Hyland, Tom Platell in second, and then Dylan Fletcher and Stewie Bithell in third overall. So that's the results there. What about the 49er FX stuff? Do you watch that, Mark, at all? It's on the same course, I guess.
I like to, but there's 12 courses in Auckland, and they were running morning and afternoons.
Yeah.
But so to be fair, over the course of the regatta and following the boys around as much as I did, we didn't really see any of it. To be honest with you, they're always on a different part of the wider matter or different time of the day, so it just didn't work out. It's pretty hard to see more than what you already had. We spent 2 days on what they called the Rangitoto course, which was actually north of Rangitoto. So it was a good 40-minute tow just to get out there in the morning. And when you got out there, you really couldn't see anybody else. You were just miles away.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that fleet, the 49er FX fleet, is pretty serious at the top end these days. Like it's...
it's pretty packed.
It's pretty packed. Annemiek Beckering and... Annette Zoets, I'm hopeless with the names, from the Netherlands.
No, you're not. Perfect with the names.
Came in for the win over Martine and Kahina in the Brazilian team, and then the Denmark team of Marie Olsen and Ida Maria Bard Nielsen in third. Okay, so that was another good battle, but in the end... pretty convincing win for the Dutchies. Am I allowed to say Dutchies? That doesn't offend anyone?
No, not at all. Especially not a couple of Aussies and a Kiwi.
No, good.
That's what I thought.
What about the Japs?
Or the soap dodgers? Oh dear. All right, so that was a good win. So that I think. It's a little bit more of an open, but it's the same names. Probably got the same 3 or 4 names, 5 boats appearing at the top of that 49er FX fleet, which is quite good. But that one was probably decided going into the gold medal race, to be honest. Have you ever actually been out on a Nacra 17, Somerville?
Are you talking to me?
Yep, your name's Somerville.
Your name's Somerville, isn't it?
No, I didn't hear you. It broke up. So
Sorry.
I didn't hear. No, haven't been on one. No.
Okay. Yeah, so obviously they were on at the same time. Did you get to look at any of that stuff at all, mate, or not?
Yeah, I saw a few races, not many, but I think they're pretty nice boats. I think I guess from my only point of view is, we're all dealing with a lot of foils these days, and watching a boat getting around on foils like that was pretty nice to see. But it would be nice to see a boat that's, I guess, foiling better.
Yeah.
That is. They're pushing like they're in like 20 knots of breeze and they're doing sort of 20 knots, with the shoot up and that, and they're not like foiling easily or cruising along foiling and then going upwind. They're kind of getting up sometimes, but not all the time.
Yeah,
it's just a different animal, but.
Yeah, that's a really good statement, I reckon. Like, they could be doing it a whole lot better because they are not foiling very well. And doing 20 knots in 20 knots of breeze, you can get a monohull doing that these days. So a small monohull can do that pretty comfortably without being on foils. So when you got the kiter.
That's right. Yeah.
VX1 will do that. Well, it was a bit of interest. Like that
69F. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
No. Talk us about that one. What's that one? Is that a boat you're buying this week?
Oh.
Well, it's actually Persico's new product, actually.
Ah.
That's a 6.9 metre boiler.
Right.
Been developed over the last year or so.
69.
And if you go on the internet and punch in 69F, you'll see some footage of the prototype sailing around Garda and so forth. So we're punching some of those out right now, which is pretty cool. Full carbon fibre, 6.9 metre foiling monohull. And I don't know exactly if I'm allowed to say too much or what I'm allowed to say, but, it's a class, like I said, Persico's first product that we're going to build.
Yep.
It's going to be a class pretty in the next week, in the next few weeks, actually, we're going to announce the circuit, which will be predominantly a European circuit, and people will be able to lease a boat for the circuit. The boats will be at the first AC event in Sardinia there.
Yep.
In April, where they'll be using the boats for more of like a youth America's Cup, not as big and as bright event as the last ones that have been done, but that's kind of the idea and the approach. And we hope if we can encourage the Kiwis, that we'll bring them down here to Auckland as well during the Cup event.
Yeah,
I actually just typed that in and I got a whole lot of different results.
You idiot.
A bit like when you typed in breast Atlantic.
Exactly. Bloody hell, my search history's just getting me.
69F sailing is what you have to Google if you want to get that up. I just Googled myself, mate, and that comes up nice and safe. Probably got a different search history to you, boss.
Well done.
I just Googled Phuket Kings Cup.
Yep. All right. We'll get onto that in a sec. All right, so we'll just finish off the 17s, the Nacra 17s. There was a bit of interest there because the Italian team, which was Vittoria Bissard and Mael Frascati, how to pronounce that? Somerville?
Somerville?
Well, if you pronounced it better, I might even be
have a clue who I'm talking about.
Rang a bell.
That's all right.
Yeah.
So they had a win, but they were leading, and they sort of tried to throw the regatta away into the last couple of days, but have managed to hang on for the win. They beat Lynn Soenholt and Chip Lubeck. Now those two, the Denmark team, they had a mighty finish the last couple of days of the regatta. They come from a long way back and they had some really good results, bringing them up into third going into the medal race, and then they jumped over this really hard names for me, Jason Waterhouse and Lisa Darman. The Aussie team.
Lisa who?
Yeah, the Aussie team over into third place. So that's the overall there. So again, similar names fighting out the front of that. But so I just wanted to get those results up because they're pretty big and important ones. But going into Olympic year, we'll try and do a bit more dinghy stuff going through. But now we can talk Phuket. Do you want to do that?
Oh,
PP. I'm just trying to speed forward, mate, so you feel like you're happy.
Oh, I'm always happy. I just want you to get back to bed, to be honest. You must be pretty tired.
I did fall asleep at one stage. Yes, keep going.
Well, anyway, Team Hollywood, Ray Roberts has taken out the Phuket Kings Cup. He has 3 boats in that fleet, and so he went up there and chartered the other 2, obviously. But he's had our old mate Chris Hoskins on the mainsail, so he's gone and got the trophy, so that's all good. But there was an incident with one of his boats. I believe has had a T-bone with another one. So, Mark, you might have some work coming your way if they send it over to Europe. It's one of the old TPs, but I doubt it'll get over there. But anyway, a bit of action going on in the Phuket Kings Cup. So that's all done and dusted. Well done to Ray Roberts. So all good.
For those who don't know, the Phuket, they claim it to be Asia's most prestigious sailing event. So you can do keelboats, multi-hulls, and they do dinghy stuff as well, which is predominantly lasers, optis and 420s, so just some small stuff. But yeah, just the island of Phuket on the west coast of Thailand where that sailing happens. Yeah. Ray Roberts, and he's got a boat in Europe and he's got a boat in Australia, I think, as well. So
he's one of those legends of the sport. So it's very interesting sailing with him, and very interesting seeing what projects he gets involved in. So good on him, and he's probably very happy right now.
Yeah, good. All right, now speaking of foiling, there's a class of boat that got into foiling fairly early on. Some of you may have heard of them, the Moth, the International Moth. Their Worlds are going to start this week. Anyone fired up about that one? That's another great event.
Absolutely. I can't wait. Can't wait.
Mark, of Persico, do you even bother getting into boats this small with the Moth stuff, or do you do a bit of advisory work, or have you had any involvement with the Moth stuff, or you just learn from them with the foiling stuff?
Yeah, no, we haven't actually. We looked at it a couple of times, probably over the last 5 years, whether we should produce one. But we've just been too busy, to be honest with you. Yeah. It's something that does interest us. Francesco Bianchi is one of our project managers, and he's actually, I think he's won the Italian Nationals a few times. He's pretty highly rated.
Yep.
But yeah, we just, every time it comes up, we feel we can't really do a great job given the time we've got, So we just haven't done it, to be fair. And
you got Luca Rizzotti as part of your team as well, haven't you? Is that right? Or?
Yeah, correct. Yep. Yeah, he's been working with us now for a little while. Yep. Good bloke, good man.
Oh, yeah.
Running the foiling week, yeah.
Fantastic guy. So, yeah, completely. So you guys are all over that. Well, if we go into the World, so they're going to be held in Western Australia. For those who've never been to Western Australia, renowned for plenty of breeze. Probably not as strong as San Fran, but what they call the Frio Doctor comes rolling in there most afternoons. They're sailing out of Mounts Bay, which is actually on the river. So if you've never sailed there, what happens is if the Frio Doctor kicks in pretty quickly, you get some very serious short, sharp chop build up on that river, and it gets very windy. It can be nuclear through there. So hopefully we get plenty of that action. Plenty of talent turning up. So Slingsby's going to be there, and Burton, both gold medalists. Langford will be there, who's been on the show. Another sail GP, Kinley Fowler, Tom Johnson, the male model from Western Australia. A few of the Optimums come down to the yacht club for Tom Johnson, I'm sure. Scotty Babbage, Josh McKnight, Luca Darmich,
male model.
Robbie Greenhalgh, who will probably do some strength exercise climbing the walls at some stage. So there's a fair... And the whole UK team, it's going to be pretty crazily exciting.
I've got to say, they've been training out of Willara for the last, I guess, best part of the 6 months, and they get out there in some pretty hefty nor'easters and make sure they're out there trying to challenge the chop and challenge the wind strength. So they've done the best they possibly can, the East Coast boys, to sort of handle the West Coast situation. So we'll see what happens. My tip, okay, shall we do it? Are we going to put a tip in?
Not me, you go.
Why not? Why aren't you going in?
Because I'm too tired.
Oh, all right. It's going to be tough. I'm going to go Rob Greenow.
Oh.
Yeah.
Big call.
That's
I'm going the male model.
Yeah,
Came out of a fresh win just recently.
he won the States.
So that'll be a big one for him.
Yeah. Mark, have you got anyone you think would win that one? Have you got any skin in the game on this little discussion?
Just whoever Kiwis in it, really.
Doesn't
Fair
change,
enough.
does it? It does not change, does it?
No, fair enough.
Then-
We'd be the same.
Then the Danish, then the Dutch. We'll worry about the Aussies later.
Yeah.
No, the reason I've gone in for Rob, I just think he's just done a little bit of work with that with the sail, and I've just been watching what he's been doing. So I think he's got a couple of tricks up his sleeve. But anyway, it's all good.
Yeah, I think that.
Is there an inside line on that?
Yep. Go on.
Is there what an inside?
line on that?
No, there's just been a lot of work being done here in Malara in Sydney, and they've all been working very hard together. But you know how it goes.
Is he going semi-rigid or?
No, just semi, mate. Just semi.
Just semi.
The inside line, there has been a bit of development going on, Mark, just so you know. There has been a lot of rig development going on. And, of course, Rob being working for the North Loft has actually been in the centre of all that. I know that they're ramming much more significant loads through the boats, so not quite sure. Because obviously the faster you go, the more you've got to blade that sail out. So the transition from creating lift to reducing drag is it's all about how much you can push through your control lines. And I'm hearing some pretty interesting stories about what they've actually been doing to their boats. So yeah, going to be interesting. One
of the big things that came out from just sort of a passing comment was all about depth, and also actually being able to reverse that flatness and going for depth. They're trying to get as deep as they can as well on the downwind legs. So they're really trying to VMG the boats as much as they can while also keeping the boat at absolute maximum speed. So there's been a lot of work put into it. So we'll see what happens.
Cool. Right. So Somerville didn't give us a name, but as long as it had a Kiwi in the nation's flag, he's happy. I'll go Slingsby. I'll take an outlier.
Well, it's pretty safe. Safe bet to be in the top three. Good luck, and let's see what happens.
Yeah. So the racing for the actual world starts on Friday. There is what they call the Aussie Championships, which is sort of the prelim. That'll happen during the week, but Friday the real racing for the world starts. Good luck to young Nick Jewson. Known him since he's been in nappies. So let's see how they all go, and hope everyone has a good regatta. The next one that's on is down in Victoria, the Royal Brighton Yacht Club, the Finn Gold Cup. For all those blokes who were born where meat was cheap. There's a lot of big lads going to be wandering around in Victoria. Anyone got any tips on the Finn Gold Cup? Obviously, this is their last Olympics before they get removed. Everybody wants to be in top form for this last Olympics. This is the Worlds before we head into Olympics. Anybody want to sort of predict anything there, or do you want me to tell you the form guide going in?
Go the form guide.
I would say Nicholas Heine from my side.
Yep, that's not a bad call. So Nick Heine will be there, Anders Pedersen will be there, Andy Maloney, Max Salomon, who else? Oskari Mulhonen, Juan Cardona Mendez, Josh Jr., Giles Scott, Ed Wright. They're probably let's call that the top 8 or top 9 to think of, without putting Jake in there, the Aussies in there. So it's going to be some real form sailing on Port Phillip Bay. Have you ever sailed a Finn, Mark?
Yeah, a very long time ago.
Yeah. Do you like them?
No. Too much hard work for this boy, mate.
Yeah. Yeah, you're probably
always too small.
You're not
too small.
Yeah, you're not built for a Finn. Either of you two sailed Finns?
No.
negative.
No. So supposedly just a beautiful boat. Everyone that sails them loves them, sort of thing, except for Somerville. He's just proved me wrong. But look, so many great names have come out of this fleet. They're winning the Gold Cup is one of the major sailing events of the world to win. So best of luck going into that one. I'll be watching with great interest. See if we can find out some inside tips on that. But that's another big one coming up during the week, as is the Solus Big Boat Challenge starting Tuesday, 12:30.
Yes, it is.
And
a big week on the harbour. It's all happening. I mean, they're out there training today, and it's exciting. And Wild Oats is there, all done.
Masked up. Mark, did you see the damage? Did you see what happened to Wild Oats?
No, I didn't see it, mate. No. Tell me about it.
Yep.
I can actually give you a bit more detail on the situation. It was actually basically they had the jib pole out, whatever you want to call that, and they compressed the rig at that point, and it fell down 6 inches into the boat, and that's what happened. And then the story I got was that they only survived because of the angle of the seaway, the direction of the wind, and where Newcastle was. So they were able to cant the keel to the right angle and load the windward gear up on the windward rig up, and they sailed in. Now the thing that happened was they got in and tied the boat up, and a 20 knot breeze came in from 100 degrees the opposite direction, and the rig actually went from one side of the boat to the other in the dock.
So canting rig?
Canting rig.
Rico's all over it.
I've heard this story from a very strong source, and the rig on the dock went from one side to the other about 30 degrees in the air.
Wow.
So they've had 3 goes at losing the rig, and then it came back the other way.
Wow.
So it's an amazing story that rig stayed up. Seamanship, hats off to the guys. But, it just shows, they were really lucky. But here they are. They're sailing on Tuesday.
So, it's what we understand, they had one of those reaching poles out, and she's just compressed and pushed into the side of the boat. And the ring frame?
Correct.
The ring frame was destroyed under the mast?
Well, as the reaching strut compressed into the mast just basically cracked at the partners and fell into the boat.
Yeah.
And that's where the problem started.
Yeah.
Now the beauty was that it seemed to have held up. Obviously they were quick enough to respond, and that's the amazing part of the whole story.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to imagine you must have been, let's say they're doing 15, 20 or 25 knots at the time. I mean, the whole thing to stay up is just an amazing story.
Yeah, I don't know if apart from 2001 or apart from 2005 or 2011, which era of that actual boat broke, because... But
the Swiss Army knife.
The Swiss Army knife. But now they've gone and decided to do their mast in sections. Obviously, Southern Spars put together that bottom section super quick time. The mast went up today or Sunday Australia time. Boats in the water. It got launched Sunday Australia time, mast up, and they haven't tuned the rig or anything, but they're going on Tuesday. So all the big boats are out on Tuesday, and it'll be streamed. If you just go to the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia site, it'll stream. It won't have the best commentary team in the world on there because we're not doing it. But
well, I'll give you a little bit of a heads up.
Go on.
I'll give you a little bit. I am going to be out there on a very beautiful rib. I might stream live straight onto barkarati.com.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Would you like me to do that?
You do whatever you want, BP, as long as it makes you happy.
I thought it'd make you happy.
Of course.
Very, very happy.
There we go.
Yes, there you go.
But,
all right,
but don't do it to barkarati.com. Just do it to our Facebook page.
Yeah,
that's
what you meant.
Yep,
exactly.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
right.
And speaking of that, if you want to contact us on the Instagram at Barkarati or on the Facebook page Barkarati or at the website barkarati.com.
Actually, one more to add. Feel free to rate us.
Oh, yeah.
The App Store for for the podcast store, whatever, if it's on Apple or Android, because my mum's getting sick of doing all the ratings so far. So.
Yeah, my mum had the same message.
Somerville's friends need to do the rating because it'll reflect poorly on him if we don't get a lot of 5 stars this week. Because it's all about the guests. They're the ones that fault.
Plenty this week.
About me, is
Plenty
it?
this week.
Yeah, that's it, mate.
All about me.
Yeah. Hey, we're about to finish up, Mark. Thanks for the. We won't get you to sign off just yet, but just let you know we're about to do the sign off. But don't disappear. But thanks heaps, mate. It's been good fun catching up, as it always is.
Copy that, mate.
Yep.
Anytime. It's been great to be on
Nice,
with
mate.
you guys.
Yeah, cool.
Very good.
All right. Now, Mark, you'll enjoy this little bit. We actually ask a little bit of a quiz question at the end of each week, and I asked, what is Cenosilicaphobia? Cenosilicaphobia?
I was going to ask you to make sure you pronounce that right.
Do you know what that is a fear of, Mark? Have you ever heard that one before?
A fear of sinusitis?
No, Cenosilicaphobia. It's a good one. Bicey, do you want to tell them what that's a fear of?
Well, I've suffered from it for quite a long time, and it's of empty glass, or beer glass for that matter.
It's the fear of an
which
empty beer glass.
manifests itself in a number of circumstances, and I tell you what, the symptoms can be uncomfortable at best, or downright terrifying at worst.
Yes, I have to say, when you look at that empty glass and you're with a guy who doesn't buy, it's like, oh God, here we go.
There you go. So fear of an empty beer glass is what that one was. Actually, interesting one, boys. Last week we mentioned the second longest bridge in the world when we were in Portugal. Now that I'm in New Orleans, the Pontchartrain Causeway near the city of New Orleans is recognised as the longest continuous bridge in the world. I haven't been over it because I'm walking everywhere, but there you go. The question,
Have a chat to your old mate. What's his name? Your taxi mate.
Yeah, I will actually, because I'm going to get him to take me back to the airport and see if he'll stop in for a beer at the end.
Stop in for a boat. Get him drop you off, come in for a few.
That's it.
In his pilot's outfit.
All right, where does the phrase Dixieland come from? Given the fact that I'm in New Orleans, where does the phrase Dixieland come from? For those who know, some of our American listeners will get that one. That's it for us. Again, Somerville, absolute pleasure to have you as a mate and on the show. Boys, thank you so much. Go in peace.
Peace out.
Wonderful. See you
Nice
later.
one, guys.
See you guys.
Thank you very much.